Welcome to Collision Hub News Network, your monthly source for collision repair news, events, and the information you need to keep your business moving ahead. In this episode, outgoing NHTSA executive worried, GMHonda joining forces, body shop files complaint against Carfax, Takata executives indicted for fraud, these stories and more, so let's get started.
This is CHNN.
Like you, I buy a lot of parts for my shop. So I got the Spark Cash Card from Capital One. With it, I earn unlimited 2% cash back on everything I purchase, putting thousands of dollars each year back into my business. That's great for my bottom line.
In a win for industry standards, Minnesota-based 3M has been awarded a preliminary injunction against Boss Auto Innova SA. The commercial court in Barcelona, Spain ordered the injunction against the Spanish company for patent infringement on 3M's European patent referring to the PPS technology. The court order has halted Boss Auto's import, manufacture, export, and marketing of the company's Boss Auto paint system, known as BPS. The system featured a cup and liner similar to 3M's PPS system. Boss Auto released a statement on their website defending the BPS systems, stating it will maintain the supply of its disposable spray gun system and will begin sales on a new and improved cup system, and has filed an appeal with the court. Enterprise Holdings has reaffirmed its commitment to open, no-cost data sharing for the collision repair industry. The statement comes in response to CCC's plan to charge vendors for the information formatted under the new BMS data standard. CCC announced last fall that it would begin supporting the Business Message Suite and return the EMS data standard in 2018. BMS is a more modern, efficient, and secure way to transmit data. Only the data the vendor wants to be seen can be transmitted. CCC will launch its new Secure Share service this year and will charge a 50-cent pay-per-work file fee. Those who register may pay a one-time API fee of $2,500. Enterprise stated that it supports a more open, level playing field, which would allow industry service providers and product suppliers to use industry-generated data. During a presentation at the January CIC meeting, Frank Turlip also raised concerns as well, saying that creating a clearinghouse for BMS data would be a step backward for the industry. After all, ensuring easily shareable data was the impetus for the creation of the EMS standard.
What it takes to be a successful custom car builder is way different than what it takes to run a successful collision repair shop. Look, I don't have to worry about the same thing that you guys do, like cycle times, DRP requirements, fundamentals of estimating, or even production management. In the collision repair world, your success depends heavily on these and other business challenges. The good news is PPG is there to help you. Their MVP programs offer expert training and business development services for all of their collision repair customers, and they've been doing it longer than anybody. Hey, one thing we do have in common, when the competition gets tough, only the best win. So if you want a customized approach to all your collision business solutions, I recommend contacting your local PPG rep, your PPG distributor, or just go online to ppgmvp.com and get started today.
The outgoing administrator of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has stated he is worried that auto safety will no longer be government priority. Mark Rosekind told the Associate Press that the agency has taken great strides in the modernization of its practices and that the NHTSA has altered its relationship with automakers by asking them to be more proactive. He said that NHTSA is prepared for budget cuts and stated his biggest fear is that the proactive safety culture created through the Road to Zero Fatalities initiative could cease to continue. At this time, no replacement has been named to his post. There are a variety of reasons and places OEMs are using foams in today's vehicle construction. It's important for the technicians and estimators to identify the types of foams encountered in the repair process and be able to properly replace. For more, here's Sean.
Now that we know how to choose the proper foam, let's take a look at some ways that they can be applied on a vehicle. Let's take a look at a practical application for the use of foams. This is a real common application that you're going to see in the body shop. Now, it's important again that we get the foam into the area that the manufacturer wanted it to be in. We just can't take foam and inject it into a panel and allow it to foam up and fill the whole cavity if that's not what the manufacturer had to begin with. So we have to try to match what they did. Part of the difficulty here, and a lot of questions I get from technicians, is how do I keep the foam where I want it? One of the things we can do is create a dam to hold the foam from flowing into areas we don't want it to go into. So there's a number of ways of doing that. One of the things we can do is we can actually take some flexible foam and create a dam. So all I would do is, on a bench, on a piece of paper, I would extrude out some flexible foam. It may take more than one layer, might take 2 layers, 3 layers, depending on the thickness we need. But I can extrude this out, allow it to foam up, and now I've got a piece of foam that would act as a dam. So for instance, if I wanted to put some rigid foam into this pillar, I could actually use the soft foam as a dam, first create it, then slide it into the bottom of the panel. Now when I extrude some foam through a hole in the B-pillar here, it's going to block the foam from flowing out and foam up exactly where I want it. So that's one method we can do. We could also slowly extrude the foam out through the tip if we have access, and if we extrude it slowly and allow it to foam out of the tip, so it's actually not coming out until it's foaming out. If we just extrude a bunch of liquid out, it's just going to run off. So we allow it to kind of foam out of the tip and fill that cavity right on the vehicle. So you could do that way or make a pre-made foam dam. Now there are some times where you may actually take a factory dam out. They use pieces of plastic, pieces of metal, and anytime we can save those, it's always a good idea. So hang on to that foam, that dam, and put that back in so we can use it to retain the foam where it's meant to be. It's very important that we get that foam back in where the manufacturer wanted it. So what I need to do now is dispense some pillar foam into this cavity. So I'm going to take a previously prepared cartridge that I've already equalized, and I'm going to dispense the pillar foam slowly into this cavity. Now this has a slow foam time, so it's going to take several minutes before the chemicals start to react and foam up to fill this cavity. You've got some time with this foam, so it's okay to take a little time to make sure that you get it placed in the proper location. As you can see, it's going to take a few minutes before the chemicals react and it foams up. Now it's okay if you get some minor leaking down through the bottom of the dam. That's not going to be a factor, but it's going to retain the majority of the foam and keep it in place. Keep in mind that this is heavily dependent on temperature as well. So the warmer your shop is, the quicker and the more volume of foam you'll actually get. If your shop is cooler, it may take longer, and you may actually get a little smaller area of foam. Okay, another nice little tip for getting the foam where we want it is to use a water balloon and inflate it with air inside that cavity so it blocks the foam from going all the way down into that pillar. So I'm going to demonstrate that here again on this B pillar. So what I'm going to do is take a regular water balloon, insert it through the hole in the area where I want the foam to be retained. Then I'll take my blowgun and carefully and slowly fill that balloon. Then I would tie this balloon off, and all my foam will be retained in this area here where I want it to be. Now that we've got our dam in place, I'm going to dispense some of the flexible foam through a hole above to place it exactly where we need it to be. So I've got a pre-prepared cartridge of flexible foam, all equalized. Now I can install it down through the hole. It'll take just a couple minutes to begin to foam. And again, it'll depend on the temperature in your shop, how much volume, and how quickly that will begin to foam. So as you can see, our dam acted as it should, and kept the foam exactly where we wanted it to be. So now that I have my flexible foam installed in the proper location, I can begin to remove this dam. So all I simply need to do is pop this balloon, and try to remove it the best I can. It may not come all the way out of the vehicle, but this one came out nicely. But if it doesn't, don't worry, it's not going to cause any problems. So just to wrap up, what we need to know about the foams is their properties and characteristics, how fast they foam, how much time you have to work with them, and what type of foam that the manufacturer wants in. Keep in mind that these foams are not only to absorb noise or to support panels, but they may also be in there for safety reasons from the manufacturers. So crash tests are done with these foams in place. We need to have them back in place where they belong on the vehicle. Very quick, easy, simple tips that we've done here today should allow you to really make some successful repairs using the foams and getting them back in where the manufacturer wants them. So if you need any more information on the products you've seen today or any other tips and tricks, please visit us at 3mcollision.com.
Sherwin-Williams will have to sell off part of its business to complete its acquisition of Valspar Corporation. Sherwin-Williams CEO John G. Morikis announced in late January that a divestiture of $650 million in revenue would be required to win approval of the merger from the Federal Trade Commission. Sherwin-Williams added in their release that profits rose in its latest quarter of 2016, spurred by an increase in sales volumes in its paint stores group and strong same-store revenue growth. AutoNation is introducing its own branded line of auto parts. Bill Berman, Chief Operating Officer, said the company will be branding their own parts and using their database of customers to sell them. The announcement came as part of the J.D. Power Automotive Summit held in conjunction with NADA 2017. The dealership chain boasts $20.8 billion in total revenue and more than 430,000 vehicle sales. The announcement marks a changing dynamic within the industry. New car margins are not as robust as in past years, and dealerships are finding automakers' dealer incentive programs can fall short of expectations. AutoNation states that creating a new line of auto parts will widen their revenue stream while also improving their accessory and customization business.
In today's collision repair environment, you need a partner who cares about meeting the needs of your customers as much as you, and one that understands the pace of your business. The training and dedication of our 24,000 employees allows Hertz to provide world-class customer service and seamless integration into your workflow while providing the daily support you need most. That is why we promise to do whatever it takes to not only keep up, but to move ahead. Hertz is ready. Are you?
Two of the industry's biggest automakers are joining forces, and the result could mean more jobs. General Motors and Honda announced that they will invest $85 million in a joint venture to produce advanced hydrogen fuel cell systems, while creating 100 new jobs at a factory outside of Detroit. The new company, Fuel Cell System Manufacturing, will be managed by a board of directors with 3 executives from each company and a rotating chairperson. Each automaker will contribute equally to FCSM, which will begin production in 2020. Automakers have been saying for quite some time, hydrogen-powered cars could become a viable alternative to gasoline-powered vehicles. However, lack of infrastructure has since delayed productions. Mark Royce, GM's Executive Vice President and Global Product Chief, said hydrogen-powered vehicles go beyond sales, but supports ventures outside the automotive industry. The fuel cells expected to be built by FCSM are about the size of an automotive transmission. A body shop in Hot Springs, Arkansas has filed a complaint with the state's Attorney General over identity theft after what they say is an incorrect Carfax report. Adam Ryder of Golden's Paint and Body Shop was alerted to the problem when a customer complained his lightly damaged Toyota RAV4 was listed as structurally damaged on a Carfax report.
Had a customer come in and he was angry. He was a good customer, had a real good rapport with him, and he was visibly angry, and I brought him in, found out the reason for his anger was that he was getting less for his trade-in value, and the result of that was Carfax report was showing structural damage. God, it was even more minor than I remember. And I was actually the person that wrote that estimate back at the time. The customer hit a mailbox. There was no accident report done by the city, the state, the county, No ambulance was called, no tow truck was called. None of those list of the hundreds of entities where Carfax gave information were involved in this. And I made each of those calls to rule things out one at a time. The fact that Carfax is saying collision repair facility, that implicates me as the, well, they're saying that the source of the data is the collision repair facility, you know. When I questioned Carfax about it, they said, well, we get information from, you know, hundreds of places. It could be any one of those. I said, but they didn't have their car fixed at any other one of those. I'm the only person who fixed it, you know. So therefore, they're at my shop. They don't walk into the other 999 places and blame them, they blame me. So I said, well, I think the industry's voice, you know, is gonna carry more weight. It's not a witch hunt against Carfax. Like I said, it's something that has its purpose, but it's running a little bit roughshod over the industry, and it needs a correction. I really thought that it was gonna be Mitchell, my estimating system. So at that point I thought, okay, well, I've found where it is, my quest is over. When I contacted Mitchell about that, they denied it to the core. So I asked if I could get a statement from their legal department that, you know, so they would go on record that there's no way it could be coming from them. And they did that, and I have that statement in writing. Somewhere we need to establish what is enough damage to a structural part of the car that this car truly is structurally damaged, you know. Carfax, they know where they got the information, and, you know, they won't let me know what that is. And they're not also willing to change it, is I want collision repair facility off of the Carfax. Unless I get with Carfax and I sign a contract to report stuff, Carfax should not say collision repair facility, bottom line. Number two is I would really specifically like this individual customer's file to be opened back up. They can look at the photos and everything, clean his Carfax up, make it say minor damage. I want this guy's particular Carfax cleaned up so that his value is somewhat restored. Is it going to go back to 100%? No, but call it what it really is for this poor guy.
A request for comment from Carfax was not answered. Is the industry's largest estimating software company for sale again? According to the business news outlet, a source reported that CCC Information Services is looking into a sale that could value the company for as much as $3 billion. According to the report, CCC's owners, TPG Capital Management and Leonard Green & Partners LP, have hired an advisor to help find suitors for the company. CCC has been owned by Leonard Green since 2013 when InvestCorp sold the company for $550 million. 3 Takata executives are facing criminal charges in the United States after American prosecutors charged them with fabricating data. The charge comes after Shinichi Tanaka, Hideo Nakajima, and Tsuneo Chikarashi were indicted by a grand jury in December. All three had worked for Takata in the United States until 2015. The executives are accused of removing unfavorable information, manipulating reports, and fabricating test results since the year 2000. The three allegedly enriched themselves by tricking car makers into buying flawed airbags and inflators through false reports. Email exchanges dating back to 2004 suggest the executives knew of the faults and conspired to rig the data. Prosecutors also announced that the Takata Corporation has agreed to plead guilty to wire fraud for providing the false data. United States Attorney Barbara L. McQuaid says investigations are ongoing and more individuals from Takata may be charged. Takata says they are cooperating with the investigation. The three executives are believed to live in Japan at this time. Despite an extradition treaty with the United States, it is questionable whether the men will ever face court in this country. In 2013, 3 other Takata executives served time in a United States prison for conspiring to fix seatbelt pricing. More recently, Takata North America president and executive vice president have parted ways with the company in a move that is reportedly sudden and unexpected. We will continue to follow this story as it develops. Scanning and calibration requirements are currently at the center of the industry. Kristen and Jake caught up this month to talk about the developments over the past year and the challenges that still lie ahead.
Hey, this is Kristen, and you know, all year long it seems like every episode of CHNN or every trade show we go into, we're talking about scanning. But Jake, I wanted to play a little catch up a little bit. We've had so much that's evolved since the last time you've been here. Some OEMs have put out some position statements since then. That's kind of taken over the conversation. But really, it's kind of gone beyond scanning. So now we're scanning and calibration. What's changed over the course of this year?
Well, I think that the industry is becoming more aware of the fact that, you know, hey, this manufacturer says I need to scan a car, but what does that mean? And now it's drilling down into the individual repair procedures on the car. If we're doing a rear body panel, a quarter panel, and a lift gate, well, we've got battery disconnects, we've got camera calibrations, autonomous lift gates that have to be initialized. More and more of those systems that weren't there, 10 years ago are now being on the surface in mainstream cars. So, the position statement only gets you there. It creates the awareness that you need to do it, but it doesn't drill down into the point of impact on the car and what procedures require different operations.
Right. So let's talk about the calibration issue, because that was one of the things that came up. I believe, I don't know if it was a CIC or if it was at SEMA this year in one of the panel discussions, that not all scans or scan tools are created equal, because beyond just knowing what's there, I got to do something with that data, right?
Right. It's all about interpreting the information that's coming out of the scan tool, and whether that person is in your shop or is remote, that's key. The scan tool is not a magic wand. It's not going to fix the car for you. You're going to have to use a combination of the service manual, the skill set of the technician, and the correct scan tool to properly fix the issue. And if you look at the position statements, the OEMs call out their OEM scan tools and their software. So it's critical that a shop, when choosing a solution, that they look at that carefully.
All right, now I know you and I both over the last several months have been dealing a lot of with I'm not paying for that. We're getting emails right and left that are coming in and being forwarded to us from a variety of different people. What are some of the things that a shop can do or repairer can do to help explain and move to resolution on payment when it comes to scanning and calibration?
Right. Well, number one, I think you can't just present a position statement and say, pay me. Once again, it doesn't tell me about the facts of loss with that vehicle. It doesn't dive into the repair procedures that the shop or the insurer has already agreed to pay for. A car needs a quarter panel. Well, what diagnostic procedures are involved in replacing that quarter panel? So I think as a shop, whether you're dealing with a customer, a fleet account, or an insurer, you need to build the case. You need to have it start with position statement, but then dive into the service manual information and pull the individual diagnostic procedures for the various systems on the car. And I think it's important to explain how those systems work so that you can explain what the fix is. And it's, we teach our Aztec technicians that what is the complaint, or what is the concern, what is the cause, and what is the correction. And all three of those need to be answered on every vehicle.
Now, going forward as we move from basically March and into the end of the year, what are some things that repairers and insurers should be keeping in mind around scanning and diagnosis?
It's not going to go away. Manufacturers are adding more and more stuff to these vehicles because the consumer is changing as well. Millennial customers are not intimidated by technology. They use it from every day, from ordering their coffee at Starbucks all the way to selecting what repair facility, what insurer they're going to work with, and they know that. So they're tying that type of stuff into the car, and it's not going to go away. And then as repairers, even the simplest things that we've taken for granted for so long, like battery disconnect or R&ing a fender or taking a piece of glass out, is now going to have a diagnostic step attached to it.
The important thing is to remember that the year is going to continue, and we'll have more conversations around diagnostics and scanning. You're going to hear more coming from the OEMs, but it's time to just go ahead and kind of just say it's required, it's critical, and it's safety to the consumer. It's not just some convenience features that we're talking about when we're looking at these.
And the most important piece is that regardless of what solution you pick, build it into a process within your facility. Very much like checking in a vehicle, making sure you have the correct contact information, the authorization gets signed. Make sure that pre-scan is performed at the right stage of repair so you can get the best results. Same thing with the post-scan at the right stage of repair.
Right, we've said it over and over, we're not fixing cars anymore, we're fixing rolling computers with wheels and tires, and so we have to change the way we look at repair and the way that we even do the whole process. It's almost like a different set of tools and technicians these days.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So be sure, if you do visit the website at Collision Hub, we've got several panel discussions that featured OEMs and insurers throughout the year talking about some of the issues that are out there. And then we'll have some more coming at SEMA this year with some more updates and some continuing information. But if you have any questions on scanning, diagnostics, and calibrations and returning systems, you can always visit us at the website. Thanks.
Become the champion in your market with BASF Advanced Process Solutions. Do you want to reduce cycle time, increase touch time, increase on-time delivery, reduce parts ordering errors and redundancies, reduce work hours without reducing sales? With APS, you can reduce stress, tension, and the daily chaos while improving productivity, profitability, and overall performance. it's time to discover advanced process solutions from BASF. Start building your future today. Talk to your representative to learn more about the APS program.
After 50 years in the industry, Chuck Sukula, founder, first president, and executive director of the National Autobody Council, announced his retirement on January 3rd, effective the end of the year. Under Sukula's leadership, NABC's member network of collision industry companies and professionals have united to collaborate on community service programs that help change and save thousands of lives across the country. These include the introduction of the Recycled Rides program, the unique First Responder Emergency Extrication program, partnering as a business advocate with AT&T's It Can Wait campaign, and more. According to a statement from the NABC, during Sukula's tenure over the past 22 years, the National Autobody Council has become the leading voice to highlight the professionalism and integrity of the collision repair industry through community service involvement. Sukula said he is humbled to have been a part of the NABC history and will miss working in the industry. He plans to spend his retirement with his family. From all of us at Collision Hub, we wish Chuck a happy retirement.
Hey, it's Kristen and welcome to Repair University. You know, it's hard to believe it's been 6 years since we aired our first episode, and with already over 2.5 million views, the show just gets better and better every year. But for 2017, we've decided to do something a little bit different. We're going to go live and put you behind the cameras and into the audience seat. 12 times in 2017, we'll broadcast straight here from the studio as we discuss all the repair techniques and processes you need to make 2017 your best year. Join in with your questions, any concerns that you have. It's like being right in the studio with us while we do the show. So log on to collisionhub.com, buy your season pass now, 12 episodes for $30, and don't miss a single live episode in 2017. Ready to go? Hey, this is Kristen with Collision Hub, and welcome to Repair University.
Thank you for watching this month's episode of Collision Hub News. We hope you'll make CHNN your source for the collision repair news and information you need. Want more in-depth coverage of stories you heard about today? Please visit Repair Driven News, your daily source for information and editorial features for the collision repair industry. If you need to catch up on past episodes of CHNN, visit the YouTube channel and don't forget to subscribe, ensuring you'll never miss another edition.
This program is brought to you through the support of these sponsors. This is CHNN.